2414 is a podcast about finding hope and common ground through casual conversation. Like the friends on the road in the New Testament, in Luke chapter 24, verse 14, we want to walk away with more understanding that leads to more conversation as the journey continues. Thanks for walking with us.
Very nice.
Very nice.
I like that.
Very nice. That was Shane. Hey, Shane and Ben and Jason, listeners and viewers alike. Thanks for being here. My name is Dan. This is 2414. We're a podcast, just having regular conversation, real people processing real experiences, journeying together. We're in a little series right now called The Journey So Far.
No, in all things.
In all things edition.
It's just in all things.
All right, this one's just in all things. We're looking at the youth gathering that happened in Houston, Texas a little bit ago, and processing with some young men who are part of our congregation here at St. Luke's who got to participate there. But before we get to that, we want to hear lows and highs as we share ups and downs, real life. Other people I've realized have a lot of different names for lows and highs. Some people say happy, crappy. Some people say peaks and pits. Oh, there's another one.
Ladders and chutes.
Ladders and chutes.
That work?
That might, I don't know.
I mean, it makes sense.
Maybe it's something. So we want to hear lows and highs. And then the question of the day is, what is your personal kind of bowling benchmark? Like if you go bowling and you're like, you know what, I had a good day.
That's so specific.
What's your bowling benchmark? Like if I hit 40, I had a good day. If I get less than 180, what was the point? Like I think most people who have some sense of like, you know what, that was I did it. So lows and highs, Shane. And what's your default kind of bowling benchmark of you can walk away proud if you hit that?
Sure. What an oddly specific question for today. Yeah, so I'll start with lows. The past like 2 or 3 days, I was kind of like in a mental rut. I don't know what to call it. I was kind of just like an emotional like low. I was just kind of mad at everything in the world, and then like Lauren or other people I was with just kind of like drag me up, like do something, and then being around people helps and stuff. But it was just like, I don't know. I think I was just mad. I was doing things and I just wanted to sleep. I was probably just sleep deprived. We'll just leave it at that.
That makes a lot of sense.
I needed sleep. I did not.
So how did they drag you out of it?
Well, Lauren and I had a gig. I was like, we're going to the gig.
That sounds exhausting.
It was. It went well, but it was work, and I was tired. We had a gig the Saturday before church, and we had a gig right after church on Sunday, and so it was just back to back.
And that's what drug you out of your fatigue?
It added to my fatigue, but it also, like, when I was there, I was better, but I still was just grumpy and mad.
Did it make you focus on other things? Sometimes that can help.
Yeah, like, sometimes it just brings me to a different place, and it's like, okay, I'm, like, around people, and that's good, and so maybe it was that. I don't know, but I'm doing better now.
Cool.
High, kind of go into that. We did a company, or we did
a staff
bowling today. So that's why I think where the question may or may not have come from, but
it's fresh in my mind.
Coincidence. But yeah, we had a bowling today. I bowled a 150. I already forgot 150 something, and
it was awesome. Yeah,
it was good. I choked at the end, which sucked because I could have done better, but it was good. It was fun. I don't know. I like hanging out with people, so.
I thought I took a picture of your score. I don't have it here.
You took a picture of the low one. I was also sabotaged many times by Pastor Dan.
That's a whole other story.
My name, I told him, he's like, what do you want your name to be? I was like, Brewers, for the Milwaukee Brewers baseball.
He's got a Brewers shirt on. He had a Brewers like bowling shirt on.
I forgot my bowling shirt.
He came ready to play with his Brewers, who are currently in the second place in the NL Central.
Recently in the second.
Currently.
He put Brewers suck as my name. So, and then the acronym for the title screen, because I had to shorten it was just B suck. That's all it said.
That's incredible. Can I ask my baseball question? So I'm not great with baseball. Are the Cardinals also in the NL Central? Is that the problem? Okay, because Cardinals just moved.
That is the problem. They are in the
Cardinals
NL Central.
So the Cardinals just moved to first place? Is that why?
They are.
Okay.
So my bowling name was NLC first place.
Yeah. You know.
That makes sense.
So Shane, so that was your high, was bowling and dominating that game?
That's great. So I don't know.
What's your benchmark? Like, you showed up this morning going,
So,
you know
like-
what? If you had less than like a 40, you probably would have been bummed.
The goal is just over 100.
100.
So
Okay.
that was my goal. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's an average.
Just
but
kind of like your benchmark of like, I did it.
yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sweet. Yeah.
Awesome.
Do you want to go? Do we just wait?
Well, I don't know. Well, I like to go clockwise. It feels orderly. So, Ben Neumann, Benjamin, welcome to the show. I like your purple, your shirt there.
Thank you.
You came from the gym today, so
Yes.
you're looking ripped and ready to go.
I would hope.
Ben, what's a low and a high in your afternoon or day or week, the season of life?
We'll start with high, then drag it down.
Love it.
as we go.
Good. Yes.
Yeah.
I guess my high is I got to see a good family friend and friend on Saturday, the Dawn. Some of you may know him.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him for half a year since last summer. That's a whole year, actually. So, yeah, I haven't seen him in a long time, and just a all-around cool dude to talk with. He has some really cool stories.
Did you guys schedule something or just bump into each other?
Yeah. He reached out to my parents and said, "Hey, I want you over on Saturday," and came over all the way in Port Orchard, which is
that's
very
a drive.
far. We were a little late. By a little late, I mean Newman late, and that's
Like at least a half hour. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it was just cool hanging around with him and talking. It's nice to see him after a long time.
Yeah.
My low, I don't know. I guess I've just been I'm transitioning from high school to running start college, and I hate doing this, and I always do it, but I'm like, okay, I need to stop thinking about it. I need to think about it literally only the day before, and if I think about it 3 months from then, I'm just going to be stressed out for those whole 3 months, but I always do it. So I guess I'm just thinking of like all the things that can go wrong and just suck about starting college.
It's like thinking about it, but there's nothing you can actually do right now. So
it's
kind of thinking
just
about it.
pointless stress.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I can really do to stop that other than just focus my mind on other things, and doing pretty well about that.
Cool. Thanks for sharing, man.
Yeah.
Bowling benchmark.
Yeah, like if you go bowling, what's like, all right, you're going to be disappointed if it's less than this, and you can be pretty excited if it's over.
I think I've gone bowling like a total of 3 times in my life. Yeah. And the last time I went was actually decently recent.
That's good.
Recent.
How'd you roll?
Okay, I don't know my actual score other than I hit 3 strikes in a row, and I've heard that's pretty good.
That's real
That's
good.
yeah, that's really good.
Gobble, gobble.
That's a light.
So I'm guessing it was like around 130, if
Okay.
possible.
Ben's
probably.
flexing on. It's not a competition here.
Over 100 at
Okay.
least. Same
There
as
you go.
Shane. One
Yeah.
over 100.
a
Less
good
than
day.
that, sad.
Can be happy.
More
Yeah.
than that, I'm walking away happy. Yes.
All right.
Nice.
Love it. Jason Church.
Hi.
Welcome to the show. You're the 4th member of the Church family, last name Church.
That's weird.
Who we've had on the show. Previously in that very chair was your sister Autumn.
No way.
And your father Carl, I believe. I think Danette sat across the table.
Oh,
I think they were next to each other. I think I watched the video, but I don't remember. I think
We'll
they
have to go
were-
to the video review later.
Yeah.
But welcome. I'm glad you're here. How's your week, your day, your morning, lows, highs?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. So my high, am I allowed to have 2 highs?
Sure.
Okay, so
sacrilegious.
this morning,
You just have to rank them.
First and second.
this morning I went and, Dave and Kristen Emmert, I went to their house and I was helping Kristen stain their fence.
Oh.
And so I got there like 9:30 and I left a little after 3. And it was like, not that I necessarily love staining fence, but what was really great is we were able to just chat and have conversation. And it's kind of an interesting, unique position because I've known Kristen because she goes here and my family's known her for a while, but also she's my choir teacher. And so it's that interesting, like, it's that dynamic of like knowing her personally and knowing her like as
She's a professional woman.
yeah. And it was great. We got to talk about music and choir and relationships and marriage and children and family. And it was really great. Like just genuine conversation, kind of like this. And that's something I really enjoy. So It was good.
Even if it's around standing fence. Also, I'm glad to hear that's what it was. When Jason walked into the room today, Shane and I noticed that his arm, kind of his forearm up to elbow, had brown splotches on it.
He's had a falling out with somebody.
And our podcast recording studio is located just a mile and a half or so from a local waste treatment facility that, if the wind blows the wrong way, can be something else. So I'm glad to hear that's paint or stain from a fence. That's good to know.
Yeah,
So that was one high, was staining and having conversation with real people.
Yeah.
You had a higher high or a lower high?
Maybe I would say higher. So on Saturday we had our last couple shows for Charlotte's Web, and it must have been Friday night. So Friday night, my friend Crystal, who goes to the stadium, does choir with me, was at the show, and I haven't seen her since the end of the school year, and so it was really awesome to just hang out and connect and like, how was your summer? What have you done? What have we been doing? And talking about the upcoming school year and just hanging out. And then the fun part is, so she was there with her brother, and then Tanyan Fawcett, who was another kid who went to the gathering with us. They all were supposed to ride together back to their houses because they both live in like the same area, except that their ride left without them.
Oh, gosh.
And so I was like, well, hey, I've got a car. My family has a separate car, so I can take you guys home. And so it was just like, we all hopped in my little car and we drove and just having conversation, hanging out, having fun, just being kids. It was really cool. Had a good time.
That's awesome.
And your low is gas money.
Bro, maybe. Actually, I didn't pay for gas because my parents had it when it was empty. So, but I probably will have to pay for gas.
That's a veteran move right there.
Smart.
Hand that off empty.
Smart.
Yeah. But my low, I think just the last night of the show, I had work. So Saturday night, I had work. And so I literally went in. I did the music for the show. And so I went in, I played the one song, and then I literally ran out, changed into my uniform, and drove to work.
I thought you played 2 songs.
I did. So I only played the one. Richard Stork jumped in. He was super clutch. He jumped in and did the last song, which was awesome. Richard, if you're listening, thank you. But I was also sad because it was my parents' wedding anniversary. And so they went out to dinner that night, and it would have been cool to be able to be there and hang out and enjoy it with them. But yeah.
All right.
I had work.
So it goes. Yeah.
Bowling. I guess it's kind of the same thing with anything that's competitive. I've only ever bowled with my family, and the goal is always beat my siblings.
Okay.
That's that's the benchmark.
So it doesn't matter what anybody scores.
I don't think I'm very good at bowling, but I would say if I can bowl better than my siblings, I feel good about it. Because if Autumn beats me, she'll rub it in my face. If Luke beats me, he probably won't, so that's usually okay. If Emily beats me, it is a problem. Because she probably, at least for the longest time, she would use the little like rolling cart that you set it on and push it down, and so like
those are worthless. We watched somebody use that today. It didn't help at all. They got one.
Yeah, exactly.
It was
so it's
lame.
So it's like if I lose to that, bad. It forever. Like, hey, remember that time when you lost in bowling? It's like
You lost to a ramp.
Exactly. Yeah. Basically. Yeah.
You lost to physics.
Yeah. Yeah. So benchmark is just beat my siblings.
Okay.
All right.
Regardless of the score.
Nice.
That's fair.
How about you? Yeah.
Let's see. Low. Yeah, I've been yawning a lot today. Just a lot of yawning.
Just yawning.
Yeah, and I can't tell if that's physical fatigue or mental fatigue or just like emotional fatigue, or maybe I'm bored, but I almost feel like I need like a bucket of cold water in the face, or so kind of a wake up
Hey,
call.
you know what? Tomorrow.
Oh yeah, we have water night.
Oh,
So by the time you're listening to this, folks, you missed out on Wednesday, August 10th. We had water events in the back lot. So yeah, I will certainly try to avoid water balloons to the face tomorrow.
It's too late. You said it. You wanted
So yeah,
That's gonna be fun.
water
Free for all?
tomorrow. Yeah.
free for all.
So yawning,
Okay.
kind of general fatigue. I think the last couple of nights I just haven't slept well. Some highs though, a couple highs. One is, well, this sounds bad at first. The rest of my family was away, so I had the house to myself for a couple of days. So that was kind of its own high. It was just a quiet house. I love you very much, family, but it was a nice time. But what was cool is I had space and time to get some chores done. So just stuff that needed to be done around the house. I felt accomplished, and my handyman level is very low. I don't do very much well, but I felt awesome for just doing some basic chores. I cleaned the exhaust fans in the bathroom, so take off the little shell and take out the motor and get the air compressor, and none of it was hard. It honestly, it didn't take that long, and I certainly could have done it with my family there, but having the space felt like, yeah, I did it.
I knew I was becoming an adult when I felt fulfilled from doing chores and like cleaning.
Yeah.
It's just like, look, I'm like, oh, this is weird now.
Yeah. But that was my high, was like cleaning out these motors out in the driveway. That was cool.
That's awesome.
And then the other high was we wrapped up I'm part of a local track club, Federal Way Track Club, and we had a little going away party for one of our coaches. And so it's just a cool time to get together, kind of end of the year banquet, play some cornhole, play giant Jenga, which is those life-size Jengas are terrifying.
Crazy.
Yeah.
They're
kids.
loud. They'll break your foot. You're
thing
smashing
falls,
little
yeah.
people. So that was,
Smashing little
I didn't enjoy the giant Jenga. I enjoyed the cornhole. And I beat up on my family playing cornhole. So that felt good.
It's always good.
Yeah. And my personal bowling benchmark is I shoot for about a 120. That's, if I get a 120, like, yeah, if I get less than 120, that's, so 120 is like my B plus. Over it, I feel like I'm in A territory. Over 100 is kind of B minus, C plus. Under 100 is like, what was the point of this? Over 130 or 140, like I'm strutting, like, yeah, baby.
You're in the groove.
Yeah. So, yeah, we had a good time bowling today, and a lot of fun. Cool. So, Shane, what are we talking about today?
What are we talking about? Well, we're kind of backing up a little, like about a month ago, which is crazy to think that the youth gathering was, what was it? Early mid-July?
Oh, yeah, because we left the July 9th, right? It's August 9th right now, so it was like exactly
Oh, wow.
a month
Yeah,
ago.
literally a month ago.
That's
So
wild.
we're reminiscing on the youth gathering. The theme was In All Things. We were in Oven, Houston, Texas. It's just constantly baking. Yeah, we're just kind of what are we reminiscing on? Okay. There's pieces of it.
Yeah. Well,
we had some ideas.
So one of my questions for Shane as we get into this is, a lot of people watching or listening are part of our St. Luke's family here. There's also some people who are maybe part of a different church or different community, but we've got some people listening and watching who aren't part of any church, and they're not part of our St. Luke's community. So help me understand how somebody who's not part of our St. Luke's faith community, why would a random person care about Ben or Jason's experience in Houston?
So you're asking me this?
Well, yeah, I've got some thoughts of why a random person might be interested in hearing about these two random guys' experience, but I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah. So having gone before as a child and now as a fully grown man,
He does have a beard.
Partially.
But it's care because it's kind of a I don't know how to describe it, a fun event, but to the theme of your faith. So all these youth high schoolers go to this one location, all to meet people from around the world, but in that you are learning more about your faith. You're being challenged in your faith. You're growing in your faith, and you're not doing it alone. I mean, in your thoughts, yes, you are, but you're kind of digesting it all together as a group. And so people listening, people from the church, people from outside of it should care because it's a big kind of milestone. Like, it's that you just witnessed something you might only witness once or twice in your life, and all these thousands of people in one place worshiping God. That's pretty cool. Like, so there's a lot to take away, and that you will always remember for the rest of your life, really.
Yeah.
So I think that's why people should care.
Yeah, love it. I think similarly, I'm gonna shut up in just a second. I want to hear from Ben and Jason a whole lot more, but I imagine people who are listening, even if they're not part of our St. Luke's community or even kind of our larger Christian community, just hearing how some young people are experiencing life, that is, I think, tremendously interesting, whether somebody has the same beliefs or not, or will ever meet Ben or Jason or not, to say, here's how young people are processing things and being given opportunities to think and experience something that's maybe beyond their everyday life with others in community. I like Shane use the word like grow or learn and being challenged.
Yeah.
So that's the idea, is if you're interested in kind of how young people are experiencing life and faith and putting it all together, that's what we're going to dig into a little bit today.
Yeah. Works for me.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. Hey, Ben Neumann.
Yes.
What's up?
Sup.
Hey, Ben.
Also, Jason, I can't see you at all. So
I know, it's kind of weird.
like I can.
The microphones
see
are kind of
your eyes
obtrusive.
sometimes.
Yeah. You can have an awkward lean if you need.
Yeah.
This is nice. This is better.
This is better.
I can actually see you now.
All right, so Ben, give us a running start. Where are you from? Or where were you born? What do you do for fun? Who are you?
A tough one. Where was I born?
Do you know the hospital or bathtub or
Manger.
manger? It's getting weird.
No, I don't know.
What do you remember? Community, state, country?
Washington
United
States. I do
United
know I was
States?
born on like one of the worst snowstorms, but that's about it.
Interesting.
So I
During
was
a
brought with
snowstorm.
catastrophe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bro, that makes so much sense.
Thank you.
Benjamin, bringer of
You
catastrophe.
understand me.
Yeah, of course.
Appreciate it.
So you grew up here in Washington
Yep, all my life.
all your life. What's fun for you?
A lot of things. I'm a fun guy.
He's a fun guy.
I'm a fun guy.
Myself. I bring the fun.
Come on now.
He is the
There's not
fun.
me. There's no fun.
Wow.
There's no party without
Wow.
Ben.
All right. Ben brings the party.
He's the life of the party.
I was
It's
like
kinda cool.
traveling. Definitely traveling. Top.
Really?
Yeah, I've traveled. My family's gone on vacations, just random places, and it's really cool just comparing it to Washington, different places, all that. Food, eating's fun.
Okay. Where have you gone? Like
lot of
anything
places.
stand out recently? Like a recent trip?
New Orleans.
Ooh,
That was
yeah.
awesome. Still one of my favorite places ever. We go to Montana a lot.
Okay.
I don't know why. It is a very beautiful state, actually. Why am I saying I don't know
And it's not
why?
very far away, so
Yeah,
that's...
I
yeah.
actually really like Montana.
Not many people
Hear
there.
many good things. Yeah.
But Hawaii, actually. Why am I not talking about Hawaii? It's a very big one. My brother lives in Maui now.
Yeah.
With his girlfriend, soon to be wife. Soon.
All right. So you like to travel?
Don't want to put too much pressure on him here. He's watching this. But
do it.
Lay it on the pressure.
So yeah, me and my dad went to travel over there for a little bit. Beautiful place. I want to go back.
Okay.
Very soon. But yeah, traveling's a big one. It's also part of just seeing other people's cultures. For example, Huna. I went up there with
Huna,
Shane.
Alaska?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Gosh, already. Yeah.
But yeah, their environment's so much different than ours, and that's a cool thing to experience, live in for a little bit. That's awesome.
So born in Washington, during a snowstorm, traveling, experiencing different cultures.
Yeah.
I was going to say, and at the time of this recording, you are, is it 15, 16?
15 and a half.
15 and a
Skipped the
half.
grade.
Okay.
All right.
Currently a student Federal Way.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, right on. And so food is fun as well. What does that mean?
Great.
Do you like to do you consume it? Are you producing
Consume
it for others?
Okay,
Are you
so
a
I have
craftsman,
learned
a culinary
over
craftsman.
the long time of consuming
Okay.
food that eating something that someone else makes so much better.
Always.
I
course.
must
Facts.
admit.
Yeah.
I must admit.
Bro, especially-
Cooking's fun and all, but eating
someone else
something
makes it,
else,
And especially if your mom makes it, bro.
especially if it's my mom.
Yeah, bro.
Especially if it's my
The
mom.
more intricate meals I make, and it's like really fancy, and then people say, "Oh, it's really good." Like seeing what goes in it just takes away the magic. Like, oh, this is just sugar. Like
Yeah.
that was the ingredient. Like
It's all sugar and butter.
that's all it was.
What's the secret? Sugar and butter.
It gets? Yeah, it ruins the magic.
Okay.
A lot of salt.
A lot of salt.
See, Ben, I would not have guessed that about you.
Eating?
Well, no, just like, what do you do for fun? Travel and eat? I would have said you like climbing and jumping off of things.
Okay, well,
That's a fun
that
one.
comes along with travel.
Okay.
You know,
He's a Boy Scout, so he just likes to be out.
ex-Boy Scout.
Okay.
Once a Boy Scout.
Still, once a Boy Scout, always a Boy Scout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that.
All right. Well, across the table then to the other man behind the microphone, Jason. Where are you from?
Jason.
Where are you born? What's fun for you?
I can't remember where I was born. I'm not gonna lie. I know it was in a hospital, but I can't remember which one.
Thought
I know,
you were
I've
answering the fun. What's fun? I can't remember.
bro. I don't know what's fun anymore. Life, no,
Wow.
no. I don't remember which hospital I was born in.
What? I don't actually care about what state are you,
I know,
from
but
here?
you asked, so I
was trying to give you some options.
I was born in Washington. I've lived in Washington my whole life.
Western Washington over here?
Yeah. So I lived in northeast Tacoma, which is like 2 feet from Federal Way, for pretty much my entire life. And then a couple years ago, in the middle of the world falling apart, we moved out into Auburn. My grandparents built a house there 20 years ago. And so my grandpa was like, hey, we'll convert the office and the garage to a mother-in-law apartment, and you guys can have the big house. And so we sold our house, paid off the debt for their house, and moved in. So that's where I reside in
Do you have
Auburn.
any animals there?
My grandparents have a cat,
Okay.
but we do not have pets,
It's-
partially because I'm allergic to cats.
It seems like you guys could have chickens or goats out there.
We could. I feel like there's the thought that I think if my dad wasn't, I don't know which parent it is, but I feel like one parent is like horrendously against having them, and the other parent would be like, yeah, it could be a useful use of our space. But
If I bought you guys a goat for Christmas, would you keep it?
that's
You'd
an
be forced
iffy
to.
one.
It's a
I'm not
present.
gonna- I mean, yeah, well, we probably wouldn't just be like, oh, thanks, Dan, but then throw it away. But also,
Throw it away.
just we just be like, oh, thanks, Dan, we'll have it for dinner. No, I think we would. I'm sure we'd keep it around, but I don't know necessarily where we would keep it, because we don't have fencing. Our house just kind of goes off into the woods, and so that's part of what makes it hard to have a pet.
All right.
But I'm
get a
also,
horse.
well,
Do it.
our neighbors have horses.
So, listeners, if you want to support the church's goat fund,
Oh my gosh. We're gonna
send in a donation.
Start a
Oh, no.
GoFundMe.
Please don't.
Go fund the
Two
goat.
goats.
Yeah.
Two goats?
Goat fund me.
Yeah.
Don't
So
fund me.
That was.
okay. So you're from Western
Never said it.
Washington. You don't have any farm animals.
Nope.
And you are a high school student.
Well, yes, I'm a high school student. I also do running start, so I'm a college student as well. I am, what is today, the 9th? Approximately 2 months and 2 weeks away from being 18.
Very specific.
Yeah, I know. I'm counting down because I'm suddenly realizing that I'm going to be an adult and have more responsibilities, and I actually have to deal with that instead of ignoring it.
You get to register for the draft.
I do. I get to vote because I'll be 18.
That's
before
another
the
thing you
election.
get to do.
I know.
Yeah.
I actually speaking of the draft, I got a text from
Oh, no.
the recruiter at Green River on Thursday, I think, and I was like, oh, no thanks, but thanks. I was like, yeah, I'm old enough for that now. That's weird.
Okay.
Because your older brother is
He's
military, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's fun for you, Jason?
What is fun?
What's fun?
I love music. I love listening to music, playing music. I play guitar and a little bit of piano. I love to sing, being in choir or singing for worship on Sundays. I actually just did that last Sunday. I had a great time. I enjoy spending time with my family, just playing board games, playing video games, watching movies.
What's your current video game?
I kind of always resort back to Mass Effect. It's a story-based RPG, third-person shooter. I just really enjoy the story of it, and so I've played through it enough times where I can just kind of jump in and be like, oh, this is amazing, and keep on doing that. Minecraft a bit more recently. Always, I'm not really good at playing Minecraft alone. I usually have to play with other people, and then Ben's just like, "Yo, let's play Minecraft," and I'll be
do
like,
it.
"All right, sure."
I've never Minecrafted. In my head, it's like
Alright,
playing with
so
Legos.
we're
Like
gonna
you
need
build
you
a
to
world.
step
Sure,
out of
yeah.
this
Is there a
for me.
plot with Minecraft as well, or is it just you build a world and you invite people to?
I mean, there's a
inhabit.
boss.
There's a
There's a couple
You
of
can make
bosses.
a plot if you want.
There is a progression system,
Yeah.
but it's you don't have to do it.
Yeah, there are a couple bosses that you have to build up gear and stuff to be able to beat. So
Do you have to do like upkeep on your buildings? Does it like fall apart over time?
no, although if you have, there's now copper in the game, and so it oxidizes slowly.
All right, so I'm gonna do what I failed to do with Pastor Aaron. Sadly, we're gonna need you to get on Minecraft, Pastor Dan.
Okay.
We're gonna need you.
You can get it on your Mac.
I have a PlayStation 4. Is it
That
on
works.
PlayStation 4?
Yep, crossplay. Yep.
Yep.
I have an Xbox, so
Oh yeah, yeah.
Crossplay. That's a thing.
Like cross-platform.
so you can
Yeah.
play with me on Xbox, and I can play
My,
with
oh my.
PlayStation. Yep.
I don't have any architectural background.
It's fine.
That's okay.
I do own
Neither do
Legos though.
Hey, that's close enough.
That's a pretty good
That's
building.
It's
copper.
equal.
There's plumbing
It's
involved.
equal creative, equal survival. It's
yeah.
it's the fun part about
Shane,
it.
will you help me with his endeavor?
Yeah, we'll work on it.
Okay.
We could have a whole series on
Just a
my
Minecraft
journey
series.
into Minecraft.
Let's play with Pastor Dan.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
2414 special
This
episode.
sounds- This is sounding
won't
worse.
be a podcast anymore. We'll bring our computers. We'll all just put in
Yeah.
gameplay.
What's that called when you watch people play video games live?
Stream, like
stream.
live
Just what is live? We'll just stream.
Yeah.
All right.
That would be
Church Twitch.
St. Luke's Twitch account.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Do
All
it.
right.
Let's get it started.
Incredible.
people.
All right. Wow. This has been worth it already. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for
Man.
coming in. And
Instead of a donate,
we've
just
got
says
homework.
offering.
yeah. Oh my goodness. All right. So Shane says we're talking about in all things today.
Oh, yeah, what
are so that's where you're from in some generic sense, each of you.
Yeah.
And what's fun? Going to go back to Ben here for a second. Did this youth gathering in Houston? I know you were like fundraising and working towards it for a while. And your older sister's brother, did they go to previous gatherings? So this gathering, listeners, by the way, happens every 3 years. And so a lot of times in a congregation or in a family, there's this idea of like it happens, and then younger siblings or other peers at church like are looking forward to it for a while. Did you have previous siblings go?
Yeah. So my oldest sister, Adri, and my brother Christian and Reagan, they've all went. I don't know how many times they've gone, but at least once for each of them. And a little young to remember the older two, their experiences, but I know they enjoyed it a lot. And it's a recurring theme of people coming back and it being worth it.
Did that create expectations for you of like, oh, I'm supposed to want to do this, or supposed to have fun, or like I'm supposed to look forward to this? What was that like to have siblings go and then like, oh, I'm just doing this because they did it, or man, they didn't, so I really want to? What was that like to sort of follow them into this?
Well, being the younger sibling, it's always been looking at my older siblings and just being like, I can't wait to do that. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like I'm being forced to do it. It's more of like, finally I get to see what this hype is about. And it didn't disappoint, that's for sure. But yeah, just them coming back from it and just, I don't know, just kind of changing, kind of glowing a little bit. I was like, okay, yeah, I definitely have to do this. And so been waiting till now to finally go to the gathering. And yeah.
And did it, I don't know, you said something that made me think, okay, it didn't disappoint, or it lived up to it, or I forgot what word you said, but did it meet your expectations? Was it different?
100%.
And they're different every time. So like, it's not like it's just the same. It's not like your friend sees a movie and then you go to the movie and it's the exact same thing they experience. So this event is completely stripped down, rebuilt every 3 years from the ground up. So you went to a completely different event than they did, but worth it? What, I don't know. What was it like?
My expectations just blew through the roof of that. It was 1,000 times better than I thought it was going to be. Not because I thought it was going to be bad, but because it was just so much better. I don't know. It's like there was just the feeling of like, okay, we're finally doing this. Let's get on the plane and go there. But once I was actually in it, like doing the things that I was just thinking I was going to do, like 24 hours before, doing them, experiencing it, it was just a great feeling. It's like, whoa, it's just a big whoosh. Crazy.
Wow.
Especially walking into that stadium like with 20,000
yeah.
people. Just, it was like we were entering an arena.
Yeah.
Everybody was
the
like,
energy was crazy.
It's like, oh my gosh.
There's just so much energy. I don't mean to I want to interject real quick because you were talking about how you were talking about how you got to see all your siblings go through. I kind of didn't think about it, didn't realize like you're the youngest out of your whole family, and I'm not technically the oldest, but I'm kind of the oldest. Yeah. And so we're kind of like at the exact opposite spectrum. Like I'm doing it and telling my siblings how great it is, and your siblings have done it and told you how great it is, and so getting to go and like kind of having that very different experience, but still kind of similar and the same. Like that's really cool.
Yeah.
I was just thinking it's very interesting.
I love that you guys are peers. You're similar spots in life. You went to the very same event, but just in terms of kind of birth order, you experienced it differently as kind of being the final one to go through and the trailblazer. Yeah. Now, as it related to kind of your journey of faith and where you've been as a Christian and part of our congregation here at St. Luke's, Jason, was this like a natural next step? Did it challenge what you've believed? Did it accelerate what you believed or redirect? Like how did this experience kind of fit into where you've been in your kind of processing of life and things that matter, religion?
I think my faith is always grows. So I went to the gathering 3 years ago when it was in Minneapolis, and I remember just like an overflow of like, wow, I'm learning so much. I'm seeing so much. Like this is so unlike life back home. Like not that like church wasn't good or things weren't going well, but like just it's different than just being in church, right? You're surrounded by other youth and you're going to these sessions where people are telling you information about the Bible, how it applies to your life, the different things that it does. And I remember just coming home and like feeling my faith like I'd never felt it before. And, I wasn't like expecting a downgrade this time, but I was kind of like, well, I'd kind of reached the mountain last time, so I wasn't necessarily expecting to reach it again, but just being able to go again and be surrounded by like-minded people and learn even more than I already had, and I learned so much, and continuing to learn more, see things from a different perspective, hear new information, see all these people, and just like I think my faith took even another step that I didn't even think was possible, just almost because I didn't think it would. And then there we were, and it was like, yeah, this is what I believe. And these are, these are the people that I want to be around. These are the people that they're my people. And yeah, I think it was it was a big deal for me. And for any like youth that are out there or young adults, like if you get a chance to go, like you gotta go. Like this is something that has made such a big impact on my life, and especially on my faith.
2025 in New Orleans, Louisiana will be the next go around. New Orleans. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, that'll be cool.
So Ben, how would you kind of mimic that? Or same question for you, Pastor Dan asked.
What was the question?
What was the question again?
Yeah. What?
How did this fit into where your journey? Yeah.
Yeah. So how did this fit into your current faith walk, with all your question doubts, with all your hard truths, with all your hard, I don't know, everything. So I don't know how.
Yeah. So like, was this just another thing? Did it change your trajectory, affirm anything, challenge anything?
Yeah.
Like, was it a fork in the road
I'm
moment?
Thinking hard about this, it's because like there's so much that changed. It's like it's hard to find a place to start.
There was a lot that happened.
Yeah. I'm just gonna start with like the feeling of being with. Well, okay. So let's say you're going to a concert, right? Everybody's there because they like a certain kind of music. Well, it's like that, but it's not because you like a certain kind of music. It's because you're all believing the same thing. And you know that everybody in that room, no matter how different they are, they're with you and you're with them and believe in God. And just that feeling of being surrounded by, like, I don't know any of these people, but they all feel like brothers and sisters. like we're all one big family, that changed my perspective of a lot of things, just how I live life. It's, I don't know, it's not because I felt alone before, but it's like it widened my, like, oh shoot, there's like a lot of people out there that are like me and go through the same things as me. And that definitely strengthened my belief, my faith, just understanding that God has a very big impact on 20,000 people.
Yeah. Jason used the phrase "my people." Like, these are my people. I'm really curious by this, because Jason, you also, and I think Ben used a similar phrase, but like, these people believe like me, or even the phrase like-minded people. And I gotta kind of confess, or I want to say this, is that I get nervous around the phrase like-minded people, because I feel like in our world, you think that like phrase echo chamber, where people just find people who agree with them, and then they find people who disagree with them, and they become opposed. And I don't think that's what you're saying, but what I heard you say is like, and it's not that you were alone or isolated, but to have a community of like, these are my people. Like I belong, and there might be all kinds of things that are different about us, but there's something that unites us too. I don't want to put words in my mouth. I'm trying to feel this out to say, because it's not that everyone was a white 17-year-old male from Washington.
Right,
that there were very few of those there. And so in some ways, like, they're very diverse people, and yet in terms of what matters most in life, kind of how I see the world, like-minded.
It was very unifying, to put it into words. It, as I said, like, people from all over coming to one place and just meeting, talking, meeting each other, making connections. And just the thought that all comes under because we all believe in God. That's big. Like, I don't know, the feeling of just like 20,000 people are here, same place, because we believe in God.
Yeah, we're there for the same reason.
Yeah.
We're all pulled by the same thing.
It's crazy. I mean, it really widened my perspective. It's like, this is a big thing. This is huge.
And the word community can sound really cheap or overused a lot, but I mean, it's kind of what I'm hearing as you're describing this, to have, maybe we just take it for granted historically that community matters, and to have my people that I'm experiencing not just events or moments with, but people who we're on the same page, even if we're disagreeing or on different pages about a lot of things, we're together in some really important things. Shane, I was thinking of the hymn a minute ago. We all believe in one true God.
Oh yeah, creedal hymn.
Yeah, but how different that sounds from how we normally. So at St. Luke's, like a lot of Christian churches, most Sundays or many Sundays, we have a moment where we speak a summary of what we believe. We call it a creed. Comes from the Latin credo or credo. It means I believe. But how different that sounds. So I believe in God the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth. How different that is from we all believe. And they're both important. Like, you have to have your own faith, but to say I believe is true and important and personal, but to say we believe communicates something different. And so I think I'm just hearing you guys say that you got to experience that corporate, that larger body, the communal. We're in this together, and that was am I hearing that right? Like, was that a highlight of the gathering or a takeaway?
And I think, like, one thing, I had a somewhat unique experience of the gathering, because I went to St. Louis to visit the seminary that's down there. I went last year and I went this year, and a bunch of those people that were there, and I was literally there like the week before the gathering, and a bunch of the people that were in St. Louis were at the gathering. And so not only was it just like 20,000 people who I'd never met before and may never meet again, and, might not learn their names, but there was, like 10, 15 people. I'd go around and I'd see them and be like, oh, I know that person. And like, it made it even more personal. Like, it's not just 20,000 people who I don't know, but believe the same things as me. It's like, it's people who I have built a friendship with and a bond with, who are there for the same reason I'm there. And it's really just, it's the community it's a big deal.
I found it so funny when like we were walking with Shane and Lauren, and they were just every 5 seconds like,
Shane
hey,
and Lauren,
I know that
they
person.
knew everyone. I thought.
Shane's a big deal.
And then there's like, oh my gosh, is that Shane?
Yeah.
Whoa.
A Lutheran connection.
It's crazy. Yeah.
That was funny.
Hard to recognize him without his man bun, but they were able to see past it.
You know,
They figured it out.
people change.
People change. people grow up.
Sometimes for the better.
Yeah, Lauren would never let you have that man bun.
Probably not. No, not anymore. But speaking of people, that reminds me of as we've kind of been speaking like how you yourself have been like affected or changed or grown through this the gathering. But do you guys want to kind of speak into how your relationships with one? Because we went as a group, and probably be very different if you just went by yourself. Like, oh, cool, just sitting like there with people and like, oh, this is nice. But you were with a group like of St. Luke's. How would you kind of speak into your relationships and how those changed, or how they changed in the faith, like as you guys process things together or kind of walked through this gathering together?
I don't know how to explain it, but after leaving, like when we got off the flight, I don't know, it's like everybody I went with, like they were already my family, but it's like this is my family, you know, like you guys will always be there for me, or you know, as much as they can. Yeah, hopefully.
Give me something concrete, Ben. Is it just a feeling, or is that can you reach out or connect in a different way?
Yeah, it's definitely a real thing. And now I feel like if I ever need help, or if I ever need somebody to talk to, like there's people there for me.
Is that like help changing a tire, or like talk to you about questions, or I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm really curious. What do you mean?
Just like to talk about life. Like, what do we believe in? What things have affected us? I mean, kind of like what we're doing right now. It's just like somebody there to just be human with, without all the, I don't know, the images that others may have of us. It's just they're there, just to talk to.
Somebody there to be human with.
Yeah,
I love that. Can you write that down or make a timestamp so we can pull that phrase up later? Somebody there to be human with. Because so Ben, I've known you for 5-ish years, and I didn't get to experience the gathering with you, but these two guys did, and I'm imagining that if my first week here 5 years ago, if we had the podcast studio set up, we wouldn't be able to have this kind of conversation because we didn't have the time together.
Yeah.
And going through this experience, it probably in some ways accelerated that, or gave you guys more depth, that you're able to have that real human connection because you went through something together. You experience probably exhaustion, but also joy, but also just time. Like there's no way to like accelerate time. You put in time together. Mm-hmm. Is that, I don't know. I don't want to put words on you.
That's definitely a good, the gathering was, I don't know, it's such a big event, but you grow with others through events. And since it was such a big one for me, it was also a big event for the others. And since we were experiencing it together, it just made that bond so much stronger. And yeah, definitely, like if I didn't know you before this, I'd come in here and it's like, hi, this is weird. This is cool. Awkward. A little awkward. Don't even, I forgot your name like 5 minutes ago. But yeah, it's because I know you two now. It makes it a lot easier to just, again, be human with you.
That's just one of my learnings through this conversation, but in general recently, of that real connection with people. It takes legwork. Like it takes a background story, and there's no way to fake a background story. Mm-hmm. Like you just got to put in time.
Yep.
And the putting in time might actually be boring for a while, and there aren't big moments, but if you don't do those moments, the big ones don't ever happen, or they don't have the significance because you don't have a kind of running start together.
Yeah. Kind of talking about like the bond and growing of like being close to everyone. So one of the nights, so we had all our rooms were all in a hotel, and so my room, I just looked away and didn't talk into the mic. My room had me and my brother Luke and Tanyan Fawcett, Isaac Howland, and Antonio Shofty. And Antonio was on the fold-out couch, and then Luke and I were on one of the beds. Tanyan and Isaac were on one of the beds. And one of the nights, Antonio and I were just sitting out, and so like the beds were in a separate room, and then the couch was in one of the rooms. And whoa. Antonio kind of...
Shane will edit that out later, don't worry.
Sure.
Antonio... No, I listened to Autumn's podcast. I heard her hacking up along.
Back up again.
But...
one of the nights, the five of you guys, Antonio's on the couch.
Antonio, he kind of asked me a question. I don't want to get too into detail because this is kind of the personal stuff. But he asked me a question, and so we started talking about it. And then Tanyan kind of came into the room, and he was listening, and we were all kind of discussing, and there were just... It was like just talking about it and talking about, you know, what it meant, what were we, how did we feel about it, and kind of I was able to round it out with some biblical insight and some biblical words of encouragement, and it felt like just good, deep conversation, and I've never really had a conversation like that before, and it felt nice for them to trust me enough to ask me or tell me or talk to me and each other, the three of us, and also just to be able to, you know, give some biblical insight and go, this is what God says. This is how it affects you. This is how it applies. And then Antonio said, "Bro, you should be a pastor." And I was like,
dude,
that's crazy. And then this is probably like around midnight now. And after that whole discussion, I asked them to pray with me, and we prayed. And then like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes after, because we were just kind of sitting around, hanging out, just the three of us there, because everyone else in our room was asleep. And we go, and Tanyan's phone suddenly gets service, and he hasn't had service for like 24 hours. So he gets like 1 million notifications. And then he goes, what if I set this in front of, so our room, our door and the girl's door were like right next to each other, right? And so he was like, what if I set my phone in front of the girl's door and we get a notification, and then we run back into our room? So essentially like ding dong ditching them, but with the phone notification. And so after this very nice, deep conversation that was very serious and like somber kind of a thing, all of a sudden we're like, yo, let's go ding dong ditch the girls for
a little prank.
like a half hour. It was so funny. I also think that the girls didn't figure out. I think they thought it was just Antonio because we were very good at hiding, but no, it was a formulated like plan. It was great. That's what happens when we put teenagers in a hotel room.
I didn't see that ending to that story, but I'm really glad we got there.
Yeah, it's just the, you know, that friendship and bond of like being serious and somber and then doing silly stuff. Yeah.
Love it. There's time. There's a season for everything.
Season for everything.
Mm-hmm. That's really awesome. Man, we are getting near the end of our time, but I've got at least one more kind of chunk I want to dig into, Shane, if that's all right. No, it's not. It's kind of deep. I don't know. What deep's not the right word.
You can say whatever you want.
Deep sounds like it's supposed to be important. It's just I don't care if it's deep or not, but it's interesting to me, which is how I live a lot of my life. Ben, you said something earlier that really made me think about it, but I'm curious about that transition back to normal life, because it can be this awesome thing, and whether it's a youth gathering, whether you got to go to the Super Bowl or the Macy's Day Parade, or a wedding, there's a lot of life is punctuated by these just incredible moments, and then there can be this slow taper or precipitous drop off, and you're just like back to normal life. How has that been for you guys? Has that been easy? Like, okay, my faith is real and God is real and I got people I can talk with, and then it's like back to life. It's awkward. Or all right, we're going to kind of carry some of these things forward. What's, and it's not a right answer. You can say it was totally done, or, oh, it's some continuity.
Well, I remember, again, when I got off the plane. Well, first of all, okay, can I just say a quick little story? Go for it. Quick little story.
Story time with Ben Neumann.
Yep. So, I had gotten my bag back from the baggage claim. My wheel was gone. A whole wheel. That was very unnecessary. It's great.
It might be a sad story, Shane. Hold on.
Sorry. Oh.
We don't know where this is going.
Take it. 3 metal bolts in a wheel. It's just gone, like ripped off. It was one of the most unexpected things ever. I was like, okay, I got my bag back. Oh wait, why is it not rolling correctly? I look at the bottom and there's just this chunk taken out of the suitcase.
It looks
so
like
funny.
Jaws, just
like literally there's a shark just like bit it off. It was horrible.
Crazy.
Okay, that was it. But yeah, unexpected.
Well, but they did give
Was
you
that the story, or
They
are
got
we
me a new
going
bag,
somewhere?
though.
Oh, okay.
They did give me a new bag.
Wow.
That's end. That's the end.
The end.
You got a
Now
free
to my
bag.
main point. My parents picked me up, and riding back, I was just kind of like looking out the window. It was just like, okay, I'm going back. And after like going through, was it 5 days?
Yeah.
About
5 days, but
6. Yeah.
those 5 felt like a year. Like that's my life now. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, never want to leave this. But as I got back to real life, it just kind of started de-escalating. It's like, and I don't know how to explain it, but when I got back home, I just, going back to my normal life, like how I lived my life before, I was like, I didn't really know what to do. It's like, I want to go out and do the things that I did at NYG, but I can't do that again. It's a once in a 3-year thing. I was just I remember just sitting in my room for like literally a straight hour, just sitting on my chair and just thinking like, what am I supposed to do now?
Normal
It's
life
like,
is boring.
exactly. Like, what's my next step here? And I guess that's my answer. It's like, it was a very fast drop of like, okay, what do I do? I don't know what to do. There's nothing to do. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Ben. That's real. Jason, what about you? How was that transition back to normal life?
It's been a little weird. So my summer was crazy building up to that. So I went to Reagan's wedding. So Reagan is Ben's sister. Went to Reagan's wedding.
She's married?
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. And then a week later, I went to St. Louis. And then
toured the seminary. And
toured the seminary. And then I was there for a week. And then I got back, was home for a week. Then we left for Houston. So I was gone for a week again. And then I got back, was home for about a week. And then we did drama camp. And that lasted 2 weeks. And so I'm kind of finally in the like end of summer lull where there's just nothing kind of to the end of the year. And it's like, I just feel, it's just like I like being busy. But it's nice to have time to think about things and process things. But I think the really high of the gathering is kind of, it has subsided somewhat.
Big words.
But I still like, I remember the things. What really helps is I took notes when I was in the sessions, and so I can look back on that and go like, oh, this is what I learned. Oh, I remember this. This was so amazing. Like that was so cool. I didn't know that, or I didn't understand that, and so just kind of being able to look back is good. But kind of normal life work is cool. I work at Chick-fil-A, so we have good food. Nice people.
Right, no commercials during the show here. Come on, we're not getting paid for this. Shane's gonna beep that out later.
You gotta. You're right.
You get sued here, Jason.
You're right. You're right. I'm sorry. But just like the people are really nice, and so that helps. But like, it's not the same community. It's not the same like feeling of like these are my people. And so it's normal life is not as fun, but I feel that I have gotten into a better routine of praying every day, I think, since the gathering, which is, I mean, not like it's some super huge step, but like praying every day is good. And so I'm trying to make that a part of my routine and be intentional about it.
I love it. Shane, as we wrap up today, what have you learned either about these young men or about life or yourself? What are you taking out of this conversation?
I'm going to be severely disappointed if you don't say something good here, Shane.
You guys like Minecraft? That's the...
Yeah, all right. You got it. Won Ben's heart.
Got it.
He did it. He had the right.
Well done, Shane.
Maybe it's something I
Or affirmed you already knew?
I guess affirm, but coming out of the gathering, so like learned about you guys. I don't know a good way to say this, but I loved seeing at the gathering how much you guys value like your relationship with each other, like as a group, like you guys value each other's company, but also just like conversation too, and like shared experiences with you guys playing Gaga Ball together, like something as simple as that, like like you guys love it, like and that's your like I don't know, just seeing you guys kind of develop in that, but also just have that shared walk in faith in that too. It's just so cool to see it from a adult leader perspective. Like, hey, this is awesome. You guys are doing it. Like, it's so cool. So a bit of that, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, seen people invest in one another, invest in group.
Yeah.
If I can say this, that was also a big thing for me. It was like a small thing, but it was also big. It's like we were just playing Gaga Ball, but I met so many people there.
Yeah. Like it's not like we can't play Gaga Ball at home.
Yeah.
But it was different.
I met a lot of strangers and I just made friends with them. And after that, it felt like I genuinely like made a friend, like a real friend. Not that I don't have that, obviously. But I don't know, it's just something silly as coming together and playing a ball game, but also making connections and strengthening our roots in faith. But you don't really know that's happening. You're just playing Gaga Ball. But it's like going through that. Don't have good words here, but I know Jason knows what I'm saying. Can you say that for me, please?
I mean, just it's an unexpected side effect.
Yes.
Kind of. It's like you're just playing a game. You're just having fun. You're just doing stuff with people. But the connection and the experience with people who are not just like random run of the mill, Joe. It's like these are, and being able to meet them, learn their names, get to know them. Like these are real people who are really a part of our larger church body, who really believe the same things as we do, and apparently they like Gaga Ball.
Yeah,
and it's
I read a picture. I read a quote this morning. I took a picture of it because that's what I do sometimes.
So you're just playing Pokemon Go.
I'm not playing Pokemon Go over here on my phone.
Bro, is that Pikachu?
But it's similar to what you're saying about just Ben. What I heard you say was, or let me add my own kind of spin on this. Is that so? You're just playing Gaga Ball, and it's so normal and ordinary and simple that it almost snuck up on you. That like, oh, these are my people, and there's something of substance here. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about getting out of your normal life is you can kind of have this mountaintop experience and get some perspective. But what I'm hearing, or at least what I want to hear today, is that kind of if we have that perspective, even in our normal life, I can see that those same things happen here. Yeah. So what you get to experience in Houston is this every 3-year thing. You know what? We might play Gaga Ball tomorrow night, and there's going to be your people there. And some of them might be your age. Some might be 80 years old. Some might be 4 years old. But we can talk and laugh and cry and pray and dig into stuff. So this quote just is from Henry Nouwen. He says, and it's about gratitude, but he says, "Every gift I acknowledge reveals another and another until finally even the most normal, obvious, and seemingly mundane event or encounter proves to be filled with grace. It's like everything he acknowledges, like as with gratefulness, kind of leads to more and more and more. And then pretty soon, like the most normal, obvious, boring, everyday things are like, wow, that's awesome.
Do you want to read it again, just to let it like sink in?
Yeah, I'll read it
for
again.
me?
Henry Nouwen says, every gift I acknowledge reveals another and another until finally even the most normal, obvious, and seemingly mundane event or encounter proves to be filled with grace. In a future episode or a future sermon here at St. Luke's, we'll talk about Orange Cone Guy, who made an appearance at the youth gathering. But here in Federal Way, just a block from church by Lakota Field, there's doing construction and there's orange cones everywhere. Yeah. And one of the guys directing traffic is like dancing out there. So like he's like the stop slow guy. That's his whole gig. He's stop slow in this sea of orange cones. And he's just like, he's grooving and he's dancing and he's waving and he's giving like this kind of surfs up thing.
Those sign spinners.
And he was. I tried to take a video of him today, but drive and like also not hit him, but also freak him out. And my video didn't turn out at all. But he was just loving his life. And there was a whole night at the gathering where Orange Cone Guy kind of stood in for the most boring, ordinary jobs are used by God to bring daily bread and provide for people. And so Gaga Ball on a Wednesday night in some ways is no different than Gaga Ball in Houston with 18,000 other people. It's that perspective to say, this is a moment, this is real life, whether we're laughing or crying or talking, or even if I don't know their name, like we're doing it here in this moment.
Conversation on a Tuesday night is not any different than conversation on any night in a gathering of a ton of people.
Yeah.
It's still conversation.
Yeah.
And there's still something to be gained.
Real people coming together. I've gained a lot today.
Yeah.
This has been awesome. I don't know if it's been awesome for you.
Yeah, I love it.
I keep forgetting to ask our guests. Jason, how was it coming on the podcast? Was this weird, scary, awful, never do it again?
Oh, it was cool. I enjoyed it. I think I remember for some reason just like I had been hearing tons of things about the podcast, but like never sat down and listened to it. And then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna download a couple episodes. And so on our plane flight back from Houston, I downloaded episodes. And so I listened to the one with Cole Ashbaugh. I listened to the one with Alec Brandley. I listened to the one with my parents because I figured I should. Obligated to listen to that one. Whatever. I've started listening to the one with Paul and Sue Cunha. I listened to Autumn's because
family.
Whatever.
Get it, Jason.
Yeah.
You're trying to get extra points.
But I've just
And you get a magnet for coming.
Joe, a sticker. We gave away so many of these at the gathering. Anyway, but just like, hearing the conversation and it being just a great opportunity to hear and to learn, but also to share and to grow. Like I'm glad that I got a chance to come on and be a part of it.
Cool. And you don't have to say it, Ben. You can tell me it was terrible and you never do it again. But I'm curious, how was it to come on the show today?
So much. Now I feel like I have to say this grand story of the.
Bro, I ramble so much.
How about a 0 to 10? Would that be helpful? 0 was the worst experience of your life. 5 was totally neutral. 10.
Okay. Well, in my book, giving it a 7 is basically a 0 because it's like, no.
That's how ratings work.
No, I'd give it a 9 because I came in here like expecting. I didn't know what to expect because I had no idea. I mean, literally, Jason just invited me on. I was like, okay,
hey, you want to do this thing? All right.
But it was a good experience to just sit down and talk. Yeah.
It's awkward because if you're watching right now, you can see that we're at a table. There's 4 of us. It's an oblong table. If you're listening, I'll describe it for you. There's 4 of us. We're at a table. It's kind of an oblong table. But because of the microphones, I can't really see Shane, and Jason's out of my periphery, so I just stare awkwardly at Ben for this hour. Just lingering,
when
uncomfortable
Shane's
eye
talking,
contact.
I gotta be like,
I
talk, and then I just
I was like Dan's talking, I gotta turn my head.
No. So I just ignore Shane because it's a good jungle of cables and metal things. So I just look awkwardly into Ben's eyes, and Ben, I feel like we had a moment.
what is the right thing to say? There's no right answer.
The right thing to say is, and that's a wrap. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for reviewing. By the way, nobody ever reviews, and if we were like podcast professionals, we'd probably work harder at that. But
Maybe.
honestly, I think it really does help. Well, it would help our egos to know that people are listening.
Yes.
But I really do think leaving a review will help other people find the conversation. So if this is helpful for you, leave a review. I think that would be nice.
We should do a giveaway.
We'll do a giveaway. If we get enough reviews, we will buy the church family a goat.
If we get 10,000 likes, we'll...
Okay, 10,000 likes, we're going to buy a goat.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Shane, you need to stop this
I'll put it
recording.
at 1,000, actually.
All right, 1,000 reviews.
You can quote us on that. If this exact video gets 1,000.
For every 1,000 reviews we get, we're going to buy a goat.
All right.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Jason?
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time here in 2414.
Yeah.
Sick.
That's it.
That's the end of the episode. But we want to continue the conversation. Continue the conversation by sharing this episode, subscribing, or leaving a review. Connect with us on Instagram at 2414 Podcast. Connect with us through email at 2414@stlukes-church.com. Or best of all, keep the conversation going by inviting someone to process with you so that you can each walk away with more understanding that leads to more conversation as the journey continues. If you happen to be in the Seattle-Tacoma area of Washington, stop by on a Sunday morning and say hi. 2414 is a podcast produced by St. Luke's Lutheran Church in Federal Way, Washington. To find more content, discover upcoming opportunities to connect in person, or to support the show, head on over to stlukes-church.com. Thanks for walking with us.